Hello and happy Friday. I'm Meryl Blau. I am a professor, a mentor, and most of all, just a girl who is learning a million lessons all the time. And I'm just happy to be able to have a place where I could share them with you. So thank you so much for being here today. And I wanted to jump in today to talk about my personal story to some extent. And the reason why is because I started to share just a little bit about it on social media this week. And the response is overwhelming. And so I feel like maybe it would be a topic worth expanding on. So from the time I can trace back to 7 years old, I can remember the very first time where the voices came in and the body images, the body perception, the feel of negativity that I was not good enough in my skin had become so loud and so clear that it became all consuming. And what happened in that moment when I stood standing in my elementary school cafeteria, curiously wondering what it was I was supposed to do with this food I just bought, and I'm standing there with my tray and thinking about the fact that I have to go sit down with these girls and feeling like I was going to be judged for the fact that I was about to eat. Not because there was anything wrong with what was on my plate, not because there was anything wrong with my body, but simply just not understanding why my feet couldn't move and why these voices were so powerful that it kept me stuck in this moment. And what happened was that that moment became a defining point in my life. It became a point where I let those voices win. I dumped the food, I sat down empty-handed, and from there, it became a battle between myself and the voices in my head. And they went on through high school, they went on through college, they went on way too many years. And through my life, what I found was that I was forever making choices to neglect eating. It wasn't even like a thing. I didn't even care. Wow, the noises are loud out here today. But here's the thing. I choose not to eat much. I did eat enough. I was never in a place where I was so depleted of food that I was hospitalized. I never got to that point. But I never chose to eat much. I never chose to eat a lot when I was with friends. It was always choices of eating something minimal and or I don't even know. I can't even say always healthy because I spent my entire high school eating Pop-Tarts and apples just because I just didn't want to be judged for what I was eating, and I thought that that would be something. While people might be curious, they definitely were not judging me for that being my lunch. Fast forward to my grown-up life where I needed to start to make different choices. I had children, I had a husband who was uninterested in hearing my nonsense, and children I had to take care of. And for whatever reason, it became the pivotal point for me where I started to ask different questions. And I talked about this a bit this week in my social media too. Ask a different question and get a different answer. And I started to ask questions about how to do it better, how to be healthy, how to feed my body in a way that would support what I really wanted, which was a healthy, beautiful, muscular physique. I never wanted to be somebody who was frail and so thin. It's not in my cards to be that person. And I had to find something that would work for me. And I did, and it was working super well. And I am proud to say I became a fitness competitor. And I loved every minute of that. I felt great about the fact that I was eating 5-6 times a day. I was making really good choices about what I was eating. I was really conscious of all of that. And I saw my body do things that I had never been able to do before. It was fantastic. But just in the same way that I struggled before with the voices in my head, what I found was that I'd come out of these shows and I'd see my body start to come back to something more normal, like where there was water, where there was a normal amount of food. And I started to feel bad about the fact that I couldn't sustain this very short-term little piece of magic that you're able to do to just be on a stage. And my body, I truly don't believe to this day, it has put on and sustained enough muscle to really be able to always be in that place where a stage was not a stretch. It always took extra work. But the voice of you're not enough, the voice of you need to do something different, you need to not eat, you need to change the way you're, living, that if you want this, you can't have that. It's just exhausting. And so again, I got to a point in my life where I wanted to focus on other things. I had other goals. I had other desires to build other areas of my life. And I had to finally make a decision. The decision to say, what can I do to create something that is healthy, happy, and sustainable? And I don't know that enough of us ask just that simple question, which is, what can I do to just stay in a good place? Let my body be happy, stay at a weight that it is comfortable, where it's not yo-yoing, where I'm sleeping well at night, where I'm feeling like I'm getting enough nutrients in the day, where I'm not walking around hungry, tired, cranky, or stressed. That takes work in itself, but it's a different kind of work. And what I noticed was that when I shared some of this in my social media, it became something that so many women were like, wow, like, thank you so much for sharing. This is so relatable. And the question is, well, if we're all struggling with this, why aren't we talking about it? Why aren't we making it something? We spend so much time putting things up on social media because we want people to see our happy, free, beautiful, fantastic lives. But I'm curious how many people are out there with these voices in their head, with these things, these weights that hold you down, this baggage that you're dragging around. For me, it was almost 40 years of dragging around this baggage that truly didn't serve me. No matter what state my body was in, it was never enough. And it was silently something that I struggled with. I would look at people in envy and feel bad about myself. I'd want to feel good and happy for them, but all I could do was feel bad for me. I would beat myself up. I'd say things in my head. Would you ever say the things that you say to yourself to your best friend? Would you ever say them to somebody who wasn't your best friend, somebody that you met on the street? Would you ever say the words? Because if you can't say the words out loud to someone else, then why do we say them to ourselves? Today was a day where I was sitting here thinking, what can I share that can help somebody else who's sitting in this place? After seeing what overwhelming response I received, I wanted to tell you today, first of all, that you're seen and that your story is important. And goodness for the lawn people that decided to turn on. I'm so sorry for the terrible noises that I've got going on today. I love to sit outside and do these videos because I really feel connected, but holy cow, hold on there. So I had to move inside. Those noises were just getting louder and louder and they were not stopping. So let me just hop back into where I was and to say, first and foremost, you are seen and you are heard and your stories are important. Your stories are important because if we don't share them, if we don't put them out in the world to show people that we are having these thoughts and feelings, then we all continue to sit and suffer in that silence. We continue to think that we are alone in the way that we're feeling about ourselves, and we don't necessarily open up those lines of communication. So one, what happens is that then we carry that with us. Even as I thought that I was really moving into this place where I was moving beyond it, there was this heaviness around me until somebody finally just asked me to put that down and asked for me to understand that I am already the person that I am working to become. And when I started to really truly understand that, and I started to create the mantras, the things that I would say every day. I am powerful. I am worth it. I am already there. When I started speaking in a way that reminded me of the things that were important, I was able to start to shift my focus. Body image, self-negative talk, all of that, it is a hard one. It is a hard one because it lives up here. But when you start speaking it out, when you start putting it out into the world and start communicating about the way you feel, it's not to sit in it. And I don't recommend that you do. It is to finally acknowledge that this is where you're at. But what can you do to start looking forward towards the future and start talking to yourself with kindness and with vision? And that really is such been the game changer for me. First of all, like, to no longer sit there with those words that are the negatives and to turn them around and to say the positive, to believe and to truly in my heart understand, and in my head, in my vision, be able to see that I can live comfortably in my skin, that I am already this person that I want to be. And I will do everything every day to continue to support that journey. And so now when I wake up in the morning, it's what do I need to do in order to support the things that I am becoming if I am not already there? And the choices we make in our food, some of it is just common sense, guys, right? Some of it is just common sense. But some of it is about what we are giving ourselves and not giving ourselves that may be contributing to the way that we feel. And when we don't feel great, we get into a cycle of feeling tired or down or cranky or stressed. And when we start to have those feelings, it starts to be almost like this floodgate where you can now start speaking cruel to yourself. So instead, what can you do to fuel yourself with the things? I talk about macronutrients, but more so micronutrients. The added things that our body is not getting, mostly because it's deprived in our food at this point. So there has to be a way to be able to supplement and to give you what you need in order for you to be functioning at your best. And that is for your cognitive function, your brain function, as well as your physicality. And that became a huge part for me. The other part was to have a level of forgiveness, to know that I'm okay to be in a place of work or working towards or just being me. I know that there's nothing really super profound here to say today because we're all on our own journey. But the lessons that I learned were simple, but they were things that were sustainable. And that was really what became my mission. What can I sustain on a regular basis? The choices of the food I eat, I can make those choices. Do I need to measure them? No. Can I make obvious choices? Yes, absolutely. Get educated enough to be able to make good choices, look at a plate and know that you're doing right for yourself. If you're not, ask yourself, what can you do better? Understand that it's not your fault that you're not able to get all of the nutrients that your body needs. we're set up in the world that we live in for failure. So what happens is the stress is high, sleep is disrupted, energy is low, and we don't feel fabulous. And it starts to affect our gut, it starts to affect our focus, and so much more. So asking about your micronutrients, the supplements that, whether or not you believe in them, it's kind of just a fact of life. The kindness, the words that we say to ourselves. If you would never speak those words to your mother, to your best friend, or to your neighbor, they do not belong in the language that you speak to yourself. Mantras every day. Saying, speaking them out, writing them down, believing in the idea that you are powerful, you are wonderful, you are happy, you are living the life that you want, you are in the body that you have always dreamed of, you are passion, you are so many things, so many great, great things. And when you start to actually say the things that you need to hear, you start to speak that into existence. You start to believe it. Your words are powerful. And when you say negative things, you believe negative things. And when you believe negative things, you buy into that story that that's all you can ever be. When you change your story and you change your script and you change the language that you wrap around yourself, you start to speak differently and the voice inside your head begins to shift. Starting your day every day with the right messages in your head. Are you educating yourself on a daily basis? Are you fueling yourself with music that fills you up and makes you feel alive? Are you creating routines in your morning that set up your day? Are you creating routines at night that allow for you to go to bed, to wake up tomorrow already feeling empowered for your day? These are the simple things. Like I said, there is nothing that is super profound here today other than to say you are seen, you are heard, and you're not alone. But you do not have to live in that space once you decide that it is time to move on. And that is the biggest thing. The decision to say, I don't want to walk around with these negative feelings, these negative thoughts anymore. I want to do differently. I want to feel differently. I want to believe that it is fine that I can be imperfectly perfect and continue to work on the fact that there will always be another level. As far as I'm concerned, we never finish, right? We finish, we're dead. There's always something more to learn. There's always something more to do. There's always ways to kind of keep moving up that ladder and leveling yourself up. It's an amazing trait that humans have. So it's okay that you're not at the top of your ladder, because I don't ever want to be at that top of the ladder because it's when the journey's over. I hope in some small way that maybe I said something today that inspired you. I thank you for listening. And if you want to connect, if you want to talk more, or if you'd like to share your story, I would absolutely love to hear it. Please comment below or reach out to me through my Instagram, Meryl Eve, or my Facebook, or any other way you like to connect, merylblau.com. Thank you again for listening and for allowing me this space to share my story today. Take care.